Hey, this is Mike from Real Black TV, and today we're in Washington, D.C., where we're at the junket for Southside with You. Now, I'm told I gotta say this movie like at least 5 times during the interview, because like when I tell people, I say, I'm going down to talk to the stars of Southside with You, they're like, what? And then I say, the movie about Barack and Michelle, and they're like, oh, yeah, I wanna see that.
There's heat, there's heat. Hey, Chicago's, what are you doing to keep cool?
Michelle thought it wasn't a date.
It isn't.
Going to an awful lot of trouble for just another smooth-talking brother.
He's a summer associate I told y'all about, the one from Harvard Law. He invited me to a community event.
So what's this boy's name?
Barack Obama.
Barack, what a...
Hello.
You're late.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
I expected it. You were late for your first day of work.
You noticed that too.
I'm your advisor. I'm supposed to notice.
We're here with TIKA SUMPTER, Richard Tanne, and Parker Sawyer. So how you guys doing? Now, oh, wait, hang on.
What?
You're expecting it, I would assume.
Oh, no, that's beer. Yeah, I am.
You let her drink on the set?
I wasn't pregnant then.
She didn't want water. We were in the hot Chicago sun, and she was just like, "Get me a beer. Get me another beer."
Right, exactly.
No, Southside with You. That's number 2. Set in Chicago, and well, tell us about what inspired you to write the script. How did this movie come about?
The movie came about just sort of being inspired by the way that the president and the first lady are together. Just the way they look at each other, the way that they flirt. Just feeling like that there's something really special about that relationship. You don't see that that kind of display. It's rare in life, and it's even rarer in public figures, and kind of wanting to know where that comes from. And then when I read about the first date back in 2008, there was just a great conflict to hang the movie on, because Michelle gave Barack 1 day to prove himself, and by the end of the day, he had done just that, and just felt like a great romantic story.
I was joking with TIKA on the radio. I said, like, this summer you got the Avengers, you got Suicide Squad. This is like another origin story of like a superhero, movie. So
that they just yesterday on Twitter, some critic posted best superhero origin story of the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Parker, now I mean you're a new face, right? You've been in some stuff, but you're like, where'd you come from? How'd you get this job?
Right. Well, I live in London, and the audition came in, through the channels, through LA and London, and yeah, I sent a tape in, and I suppose I was the best guy for the job.
Wait, but you don't have a British accent.
No, I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I moved to London 8 years ago, so my wife could start a business.
Okay, now it sounds like an undercover strategy. All the black actors are coming from Britain now, so it's like I'm gonna go and come
That's
back.
right. But you know what? It helped, because when I started, I only started 5 years ago, and it helped me get smaller roles in bigger films as they were shooting in Europe for tax rebates and incentives, and so I was able just to get a foothold in the industry a little bit.
Right, like Zero Dark 30 and
That's right.
Jack Ryan.
That's right.
So, but this is your first lead.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for the role?
I think I had about a month and a half, maybe 2 months to prepare. And I memorized the entire script, and I would walk around talking to myself in his voice for about a month and a half.
Did you have ear surgery?
I did. No, I didn't have ear surgery.
Shouldn't we be getting to the meeting?
We have some time. It's not for another few hours.
What?
I thought we'd swing by the Arts Center. There's an Afrocentric exhibit that's supposed to be...
Wait, what is this?
What is this? I don't know. I mean, taking at face value, that's a pretty existential question, Michelle.
What happened to the meeting?
It doesn't start till 4, so I thought we'd see some paintings, maybe grab a bite to eat. We don't have to.
Barack, you seem like a really sweet guy. But how many times do I have to tell you we're not going out together?
Well, Michelle, thank you for saying that. You seem like a real sweet girl, but I have to correct you. We are, in fact, out, and we are, in fact, together.
But not on a date.
One thing, Richard, that I really liked about the movie is it's like got the subtext of black culture in it. Like, you know, on the date they go see Ernie Barnes, and then there's like references to Good Times, and then they go see Do the Right Thing. I mean, it's just like layers and layers of stuff. I mean, was that part of the intention in the writing?
Definitely. You know, that was one of the great privileges for me as a white guy, was to sort of open up the doors of empathy and to kind of put myself in shoes outside of myself, you know. And that's actually a theme in the movie, is walking in someone else's shoes. And so, you know, what started it for me was the romance. But when you look into who Barack and Michelle are as people, you find that the consideration of race in this country and where they stand, and Michelle having been a black girl from the south side of Chicago who then went through, you know, predominantly white institutions for most of her life. You know, these are things that you want to embrace as the writer, and these are things you want to understand as the writer, and culturally too. It's just you know, you want to get into that and really really have fun with that and play with that, musically, pop culture references, and so it was great. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, Tika, that brings up a good point. Like a lot of black movies that we see, either they're not necessarily race specific, like or you know, like it's sort of like these could be anybody's characters, but they just happen to be cast black, or they're so black, it's like blackity black. You know, where it just seems like cartoonish in a way, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, what went into what attracted you to the role? How did you guys come to meet?
Well, I was given his synopsis, and I read it, and I thought whoever wrote this, it was just literally like 2 paragraphs. I said, they're genius, and I want to meet them. And I just knew they were smart. And so when we met for lunch, and he just had a very clear vision. And I just remember thinking and saying, we're going to get this done. And then we like went out together and became partners. And this is like our baby and our passion project. But that's the reason why I knew that this could work and that I was so passionate about it, is because his vision, the depth, the culture, you know, it wasn't just, It wasn't just, you know, thrown up there for vanity saying Good Times. It was really thought about. You know, even her, there's a line in there about her speaking French and piano lessons, like all these different things that built the characters up, and you can see them. You know, there was a thread. That's smart writing, and I'm always about smart writing, no matter who writes it. So that's how we connected, and that's how we became partners on the project and producers, and I just believed in his vision.
Well, I'm really excited and proud for you in the fact that, I mean, you're also the producer, one of the producers on the film, and it's so like, I mean, like, you know, we've known about TIKA SUMPTER for years. Like people ride or die at TIKA SUMPTER, but you know, like you could get the check and you play the girlfriend, you could get the check and you do that, but like, you know, talk about putting it into your own power.
Listen, after a while, I mean, amen for the checks, right? But after a while, you want to. What I loved about Richard is he believed in that I could do it, and he wanted me to be Michelle from the beginning. And I was ready for a lead. I was ready for something to bite, to sink my teeth into, and I was ready to do the work. And it's just so nice to be able to carry a film with Parker and be surrounded by talent, but have something that's not just, like you said, stereotypical or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, being the girlfriend's cool for a while, but then you want more.
Yes, we did. In fact, I was just explaining to Michelle how angry that ending made me. Why would the delivery man have thrown the trash can through his employer's window? He must have known his actions would cause the mob to riot. It seemed totally irrational.
Let me put it to you another way, Avery.
I'm all ears.
If Mookie hadn't thrown the trash can, maybe the crowd would have turned on Sal and Sons. So instead of the store being destroyed, they might be dead. And Mookie knew the insurance would cover the damage to the store. He was saving Sal's life.
I never would have considered that perspective, Barack. See, that's why we need a guy like you full-time. Michelle, make sure to treat him real good. We want him sticking around. We'll see you both Monday.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
You know, I only said that to make Avery feel better. Mookie threw that trash can because he was angry.
Southside with you.
Southside with you. Southside with you.
The Barack and Michelle movie. So, I mean, but Richard, now, as far as challenges being a first-time director, like a lot of people, I'm just coming from the Black Star Film Festival, and a lot of discussions like, how do you make this happen? How do you get in? You know, and it just seems so overwhelming. But then it also seems like with this particular project, once the ball started rolling, you got so many people involved.
Yeah, well, I had been working as primarily a screenwriter and making short films and making my own content, but this was the first script I wrote that people felt excited enough about to actually consider me as a director. And I also have to say that TIKA backing me as a first-time director and using her considerable reputation to back me was I think a major tipping point for a lot of these financiers in considering that a reality. Also, the fact that I wasn't going to let anyone else direct it. So, you know, if they wanted to make the movie, but I think the subject matter, and I think the way that the perspective of the movie and its very low budget was appealing to a lot of financiers, and so in that sense we got lucky that a company like I Am Global, Stuart Ford was willing to roll the dice on a movie. We don't see too many movies like this where you have two people of color falling in love and it's a serious movie, and especially, I mean, we know TIKA has a fan base. Parker's a total unknown, and so for them to roll the dice on the movie in that way, you know, we're really appreciative of that. Hopefully this jumpstarts more of that happening.
You know those lemon ices you get in the summertime? That's what this movie is. You know, I mean, it's really hot and you just want something really refreshing. It is, and it quenches your thirst for something real and something, I don't know, something that moves you.
It's been a while since I've had that kind of connection to real life struggle.
Just want to do more.
Yeah, so do I. I wonder if I can write books or hold a position of influence in civil rights.
Politics.
Maybe.
You want some?
Sure.
Think you're real smooth, don't you?
And real cute.
I mean, they did look good on Dumbo.
Hey everybody, I'm TIKA Sumter.
Hey, I'm Richard Tanne.
And I'm Parker Sawyers.
And you're watching Real
Black.
No regrets whatsoever because there weren't no parts. Yeah, I could play a pimp, you know, but there weren't no parts. They weren't doing Othello. As a matter of fact, they didn't do Othello on film for a black guy till I got there.
When you watch movies, you may get some militancy, some so-called blackness, but overall what you're going to get green-lighted and the gatekeepers are going to let come through are those motion pictures which perpetuate the status quo.